don't know what causes autism, but it's clear that there has been a significant increase in the number of cases of autism, correct?
Correct.
What can you give us some color on that? I mean, what are those statistics?
I mean, I think in let's say 1985, there were 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 30,000 kids were diagnosed with autism, and now it's 1 in 31. An enormous exponential increase in just a few short decades.
I wasn't gonna bring this up, but listening to the questioning before me, I mean, it's also true that this administration, under your leadership, is doing more to study and try to find the causes of autism than any administration before you. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that's correct. I mean, we've established, I was telling Senator Hassan, that we established a new program to study autism to try to get an answer for millions and millions of families. What is the reason why? And it's going to be complicated. Autism is a complicated condition with severe disease and less severe disease. The biology is complicated. It's not just simply genetic, although that's been a theory. People have been saying it's just psychiatric, but it's not. That's been a theory. I think it's going to be, the answer is likely to be a very complicated biomedical process, and it's going to be different for different groups of autistic patients.
This doesn't seem like a Republican or Democrat issue. It seems like one that we should all be thanking you and this administration for doing more to figure out what's causing it and what do we do about it. So I wasn't planning on asking you about that, but thank you for your leadership on studying the causes of autism, because there are a lot of families in Indiana that are affected that appreciate that focus. Indiana is home to 3 R1 research institutions: Indiana University, Purdue, and Notre Dame. Just to give a few examples, IU is making groundbreaking discoveries into early onset Alzheimer's research treatments. Purdue is focused on treatments for opioid addiction and pioneering the science of suppressing cancer-related genes is just one example. Notre Dame is exploring how to make malaria less resistant to antibiotics. Those are just a few examples of the type of important research that's going on in my great state to make Americans healthier. Doctor, despite having the country's largest medical school at Indiana University and several top-notch research institutions, Indiana only gets about $350 million of NIH funding every year, or last year rather. To contrast that with the state of Massachusetts, which is virtually the same size as my state, received nearly $3 billion last year in NIH funding. What's going on here? Can you explain why schools on the coast seem to get more NIH funding than schools or states like my state that's doing a lot of research as well?
I mean, we have programs to try to get more money to places like Indiana that have been I think, frankly, I've been around the country. I've been to Alabama. I'm hoping to visit Indiana, and I've been Kansas, a whole bunch of places. There are great ideas everywhere, Senator. What happens is the NIH, the way that we fund the facilities is tied to having great researchers already there that can win NIH money. But there's a catch-22 here, right? In order to attract great researchers, you have to have great facilities. You see the problem, right? It's a catch-22 that guarantees that our funding is going to be concentrated. I would love to work with Congress to find a way to break that link so that maybe introduce a market for facility support. So if Purdue can have a square foot of lab space more inexpensively than some other institution, that they would get a leg up in getting that money. Introduce sort of market thinking into distributing the facility support and unlink it from the grants, the projects. The projects are amazing, but linking the projects to the facility support, I think, is what leads to that concentration that you're talking about.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. 6 states receive nearly half of all NIH funding, but the bottom 30 states only get 13% of the funding, I think, to your point. Along those lines, how are you making sure that universities all over the country can compete equally for that funding? What does that metric look like? How can we help you develop a more competitive process?
Well, I think especially for that delinking, I'm going to need folks in Congress to help. But we're already have something called the Ideas Program to direct more funding to places that have great ideas that don't necessarily always get our funding. The other thing is we've changed the way that the institutes select projects to make sure that there is this sort of geographic diversity. It makes scientific sense because you want schools of thought, competition. Concentrating in a couple of places gets scientific groupthink.